Hello, dear readers of Baku Tribune. I am Roland Yusufov, representative of Smegi Azerbaijan, International Charitable Foundation of Mountain Jews. Today, we are starting to talk about anti-Semitism in the world, in the United States of America, as well as fighting against it, and about Jewish people living in Azerbaijan. The well-known American lawyer, the author of the podcast, The Dershowitz, and on Rumble, YouTube, and other platforms, the professor of the Harvard Law School, Mr. Alan Dershowitz, has joined the studio. Let me remind you that Mr. Alan Dershowitz represented Donald Trump at the impeachment hearings in 2019-2020. Dear Mr. Dershowitz, thanks for joining us. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to reach out to the Mountain Jewish community. I've heard so many wonderful things about you and your community and how strongly you support Israel and how strongly you support each other. One of my dreams is someday to come to Azerbaijan and to meet you in person, but as second best, I'm happy to meet you over Zoom.
Thank you so much. For us, it'd be honored for Mountain Jews to take interview from you. We will wait for you there and come to Azerbaijan. If you are ready, we can start.
I am exactly the opposite. I'm exactly the opposite of a mountain Jew. I come from Brooklyn, New York, where there are no mountains, no hills, and almost no trees, just cement. So it's great to hear different points of view from the Jewish community.
Thank you. If you are ready, we can start.
Sure.
Okay, let's start with the first question. How do you assess the level of the anti-Semitism in the world today? And how has hatred of Jews changed in the world?
It depends on what a time frame you use. Anti-Semitism has been with us since the time the Jews were in Egypt, the times the Jews were in Persia. In Megillat Esther, they talk about anti-Semitism. In the book of Shemot, they talk about anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a constant. It's always been. It was a moratorium up to the Shoah. After the Holocaust, anti-Semitism slowed down and stopped between, say, 1945 and maybe 2000. But it's now picked up again. And the interesting thing is today, it comes largely from two groups, not the traditional group. The traditional group that opposed Jews were well-to-do, fancy, corporate types in America, mostly Republicans. Today, anti-Semitism comes from two sources: from the hard left, the progressive, woke, hard left, anti-Zionist groups, and from Muslim groups. Not all Muslims. Many Muslims get along wonderfully with Jews in many of the countries in the area around which you are. Muslims and Jews get along fine. But in the United States, not so much, and obviously in the Middle East, not so much. So I think what we're seeing is not a new anti-Semitism, but a new type of anti-Semitism, but a reflection of the traditional anti-Semitism that's been with us for so many thousands of years.
Well, thank you. Let's move to the second question. What's the situation regarding this issue in the United States? Are you satisfied with the results of fighting against anti-Semitism under current Biden administration?
No, I'm not. But, you know, a Jew is never satisfied. We always want more. We always want to fight for progress, for liberty. For me, the greatest danger is on university campuses. Why university campuses? Because that's the future. My students who I've taught, become justices of the Supreme Court, presidents of the United States, members of Congress, editors of the New York Times. And so the blatant anti-Semitism that we see today on so many university campuses, and this is not only in the United States, we see it in Oxford University, we see it in Cambridge University, we see it in the Sorbonne, most in Holland. We don't see it much in Italy, interestingly enough, not as much in Southern Europe as in Northern Europe, and massively in the United States. We're beginning to see it a little bit in Australia. And so it's spreading around the world, and it starts with universities, and universities are our future, and that's what's so dangerous.
Thank you. Okay, the next question. What measures should be done in order to prevent the problem of anti-Semitism? What are the current and real solutions for that?
Well, the first solution is to make a better case for Israel and a better case for Jews. I've written many books on the subject. I wrote a book, The Case for Israel. I wrote a book, The Case for Peace, The Case Against Israel's Enemies, Chutzpah, trying to present a public argument against anti-Semitism. That's important. But second, for Jews to unite politically. And, Jews vote Republican, they vote Democrat, some are left, some are right. We ought to unite around the issue of anti-Semitism, and every Jew should be fighting anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, and we shouldn't allow anti-Zionism to become the cover for anti-Semitism, which is what it's become.
Thank you. Let's move to the first question. As you know, a large Jewish community lives in Azerbaijan. Mostly, it's a mountain Jewish community. And the first and only mountain Jewish museum was built in Red Village in Azerbaijan. And without exaggeration, it's a unique place. The first and only place in the world, with the exception of Israel, where Jewish people live compactly and making up most of the population here. And my question is, what do you know about Jewish community in Azerbaijan, and how important is creating of such kind of museums for mountain Jews where they have historically lived and are currently living?
I think it's very important, and I plan, if you will send me an invoice, I'll plan to make a small contribution to the museum, which I think is very important. I first heard about Azerbaijan from a friend of mine who was rescued from the Holocaust. In 1942, 1943, she was just born, and her family escaped from Poland and came all the way to Azerbaijan, and the Azerbaijani Jewish community welcomed her and her family, and she lived there. And I know there are some Holocaust survivors there, and it's a great mix because there are Sephardic Jews and there are Ashkenazi Jews, and there are Jews from different places, and of course the natives of Azerbaijan have been there for many centuries. So it's a wonderful Jewish community. I know you have a Chabad there, and I'm very active in Chabad. I've been active in Chabad since, believe it or not, 1952. You know how long ago that is? We're talking 70 years ago. I met the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I worked with him when the Soviet Union still existed, and Azerbaijan was part of it. I worked to free Soviet Jews. I worked together with Chabad, and I still work together with Chabad. And so I know a bit about the community. I'd love to visit there someday, but I've never had the privilege and the honor of being called up to the Torah and doing an aliyah in the Azerbaijan synagogue someday.
God willing. I have studied in Chabad school as well.
Good, wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next question. After the Second Karabakh War, Azerbaijan and Israel relations became stronger, and both sides are interested in deepening relations. What do you know about the relation about Azerbaijan and Israel, and what should be done in order to expand bilateral cooperation and relation?
Look, Israel's great contributions to the world, technologically, scientifically, economically, militarily, are well known. And many Muslim countries and many countries in different parts of the world, Christian countries, Arab countries, many want to form closer relationships with Israel. There's now rumors that Pakistan may form a closer relationship with Israel. We know that Morocco is doing it. Egypt and Jordan did it a long time ago. The Emirates, maybe Saudi Arabia. So I think that Israel is expanding its relationships around the world, and I think it should especially focus on countries with Jewish communities like Azerbaijan. And it's very important for the Jewish communities for there to be a good relationship between Israel and their country. And I hope that will continue and grow better and become even stronger. Kol hakavod, and may you go from strength to strength. Let's remember every day when we daven, we say a prayer that says, Hashem oz le'amo yitain, Hashem yivarech et amo b'shalom. God will give the Jewish people oz, strength, and only then will they get peace. And so we're hoping that Israel grows stronger, that the Jewish communities go stronger, and that they get more oz, and only then will they get shalom. And Azerbaijan is an important part of that.
Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for answering. And last but not least, I am participant in the 25th YAS Forum of Azerbaijan Republic, representing Mountain Jewish community. And wonderful. I was honored to ask from Mr. President of Azerbaijan Republic how Azerbaijan people should maintain tolerance and preserve it. And Mr. President notes that Azerbaijan people have strengths, and our strength lies in the diversity of ethnic culture and in the multitude that follows our unity. And my question is, how does the United States view the preservation of tolerance?
Well, not well enough. We think of diversity only as skin deep, only as color. The Jewish people are among the most diverse people in the world. People don't realize, they think every Jew comes from Warsaw or Krakow or Kiev, but that's not true. Jews come from all over the world, from China, from Australia, from Azerbaijan, from other areas, and Israel, for that reason, is one of the most diverse countries in the world. In addition to having 20% of a Muslim population and a couple of percent of a Christian population, its Jewish population is incredibly diverse, and diverse in its achievement, diverse in its attitudes, diverse in its point of view. We are one people when it comes to certain issues, but we are a variety of people when it comes to other issues of observance. When you go to a shul around the world, everybody says Shema Yisrael. Everybody says Shema Yisrael, but not everybody says everything else in the same exact order. And so we have to keep unity and diversity at the same time. That's not easy. You know, the symbol of America is a group of weeds put together, and it says E pluribus unum, which in Latin means out of one comes many, or out of many there's one. And that has to be the symbol of the Jewish community. We have to maintain our diversity, our love for mountain Jews, for city Jews, for Jews from all over the world. And at the same time, we have to remember that we are one people at heart, and we should all strongly support Israel, support Jewish communities everywhere in the world. That's what Chabad does so well. It doesn't judge Jews. I was at a Chabad event last night on Martha's Vineyard. We're establishing a new Chabad on Martha's Vineyard. We had people there with kippah. We had people there without a kippah. We had people there wearing tzitzit. We had people who don't wear it. It doesn't matter. If you're a Jew, Chabad loves you. If you're a Jew, I love you. And we'll support you and we'll defend you. And again, I congratulate the mountain Jews for keeping both unity and diversity within the Jewish community. We're so proud of your accomplishments and the wonderful things you've done, and keep it up, and may you go from strength to strength.
Thank you, Mr. Alan Dershowitz. For us, a big honor, and we are following your performance. Thank you for covering all questions clearly, and we will be so glad to see you in Azerbaijan. Come and visit our tolerant country, our red village, and we hope that we will come on one day to see you soon.
I hope so, and if you'll send me a video of this, I'll circulate it among my friends who should learn more about Azerbaijan, and I'll send it particularly to my friend who spent the first few years of her life there being rescued from the Nazis. So please send me a videotape of this, and call on me anytime you want. I now consider myself an honorary part of your community since I've gotten to know you, and I want to get to know you even better. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Bye.